Everyone thought the Evil Dead franchise had already pushed horror to its limits. But Evil Dead Burn takes the nightmare to an entirely different level. This movie doesn't just rely on jump scares or gore. It creates a non-stop feeling of dread that keeps getting worse every minute. The story follows Alice, a grieving woman who returns to her late husband Will's isolated family house after his mysterious death in a car accident. Right from the beginning, the atmosphere feels uncomfortable. The house itself almost feels alive, like something dark has been waiting inside those walls for years. What makes this movie stand out is how quickly it builds tension. The film wastes no time throwing viewers into disturbing sounds, creepy whispers, strange behavior, and terrifying imagery. Once the basement is opened and the Necronomicon appears, the movie transforms into complete chaos. The possession scenes are easily some of the most horrifying moments in the entire Evil Dead universe. The practical effects look brutal and realistic. Bones twisting, unnatural smiles, blood pouring from eyes. Everything feels disturbing in the best possible way for horror fans. Instead of making the Deadites funny or exaggerated, this movie makes them genuinely terrifying again. One of the strongest parts of the film is the sound design. Every whisper, scream, and chainsaw sound hits hard. Watching this with headphones or in a dark room makes the experience even more intense. The background score constantly creates tension without overdoing it. The cinematography also deserves praise. The movie uses dark lighting, fire effects, rain, shadows, and tight camera angles to make viewers feel trapped inside the nightmare with the characters. Some scenes genuinely feel claustrophobic and uncomfortable to watch. Alice is probably one of the strongest protagonists the franchise has had in years. She feels emotionally broken, but believable. Her pain over losing Will gives the story emotional weight, which makes the horror scenes hit harder. By the final act, when she picks up the chainsaw and fights back against the possessed family, the movie fully embraces classic Evil Dead energy while still feeling modern and brutal. The gore in this film is absolutely insane. This is not a casual horror movie. It's violent, disturbing, bloody, and extremely graphic. Fans of intense horror will probably love how far the movie goes. Some scenes are genuinely difficult to watch because of how realistic and relentless the violence feels. The final confrontation between Alice and the possessed version of Will is one of the emotional highlights of the movie. The film cleverly mixes psychological horror with emotional manipulation, making the ending feel tragic instead of just shocking. And that ending honestly feels like pure nightmare fuel. Even after all the destruction and fire, the evil still survives. The final shot of the burned Necronomicon and the child's laughter leaves the audience with the terrifying realization that this nightmare is far from over. Overall, Evil Dead Burn feels like a brutal return to old-school horror, while still bringing fresh energy to the franchise. It's terrifying, violent, emotionally dark, and visually unforgettable. If you're a fan of demonic horror, possession movies, intense gore, and non-stop tension, this movie delivers almost everything horror fans could want. Rating: 8.5 out of 10 for hardcore horror fans.